It took 9 tracks, lots of smiles, and maybe a few tears, but at Indianapolis in March, we crowned 3 champions in the Ray Esports iRacing League's inaugural season. And tonight, we start anew. Welcome to Season 2 of the Ray Esports Racing League presented by RaceVoice and Driver61. To kick things off, we head back to John Denver's favorite country roads in that little 10-turn, 2.1-mile circuit just outside of Washington, D.C., West Virginia's own Summit Point Raceway. I'm Greg Ginsburg, and I've gotten the band back together. We've got Avery McDonald joining me in the announce booth, and it wouldn't be Old Home Week without Dennis Branch manning the controls and bringing you all those great camera shots that Apex Racing TV is known for. Tonight, we've got 2 great races on tap. First up will be the Spec Racer Fords, and a little later tonight, we'll track some of the best Pro Formula Mazda racers as they try to navigate this challenging circuit. First off, welcome back, Avery.
Oh, it's so great to be back, Greg. And I mean, you got, like you said, the old band back together with Dennis and you and myself. I love this series. When I saw we were covering this series again, Greg, I was like, I want in on this because get the band back together and watch some great racing. So I'm just excited for another season here at the Ray Esports League.
Yeah, there you go. And so when we dropped in on the best little track in Jefferson County last season, we had some amazing racing with maybe just a little bit of argy-bargy as our combatants fought to be first across the checkered flag and the start-finish line. After a few weeks away, Avery, I think you pretty much summed it up already, but what are you looking for tonight here with the Spec Racer Fords at Summit Point Raceway?
I missed last season's race here, so I looked over the broadcast to kind of see how the races went. There's a couple different lines that people are using, and maybe with the experience from last season, you might see some different moves because, like we were talking before the broadcast before I went on air, turn 5 is a couple different ways to take it. There's the fast way and the really slow way, so we'll see what these drivers are going to do.
Exactly. All right, and so we're just about halfway through the 15-minute open qualifying session. Format for the evening, as we had during Season 1, is a 15-minute qualifying session and then a 20-minute sprint race to the checkered flag for 2 of our 3 classes. This week we have both the Spec Racer Fords and the Pro Formula Mazdas. Not joining us here this week is these Mazda MX-5 drivers. They will be with us next week when we go all the way across the country to the West Coast to Laguna Seca. So you're going to have to hold your horses and wait a week to see them. But real quick, as we have qualifying going on right now, and we just now saw Murphy Nichols, part of that All Sports Racing team, go to the top of the leaderboard with a 123.268. He was there drafting with his 2 teammates, Jamison Huffman and also Morgan Burkhardt. Let's take a look and just briefly at how we wrapped up Season 1 in the Ray Esports Racing League. First off, we had our regular season champions, and then we had our runoffs, an open championship at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Our top 4 finishers in Spec Racer Ford: Caleb Patry with 25 points, Steve Ray finishing 2nd, Greg Mack finishing 3rd, and then David Schwartz finishing in 4th. And then taking the win in Spec Racer Ford was Caleb Patry with Miles Crabb and Zach Burke finishing 2nd and 3rd. Then we had Stevie Ray, and we'll talk a little bit more about Steve here as we go on. That's the Stevie Ray is the Ray in Ray Esports Racing. And then we had Morgan Burkhardt coming home in 5th at those national championship races. But looks like right now those teammates from the All Sports Racing team of Murphy Nichols, Jamison Huffman, and Morgan Burkhardt, he's sitting back at 5th right now. They've pretty much got qualifying covered, but Stevie Ray, who was an I don't want to say old time, but used to race Spec Racer Fords in real life, and of course he also in another life hosts and organizes the Weekend Warriors Spec Racer Ford Racing League. Can also be seen every Sunday here on Apex Racing TV. He's right there in that silver and red number 11 car. And see, looks like he's updated. Oh, there he goes, spinning out for us right Right on cue. There you go. Stevie's updated his livery just a little bit and matches another driver, a real-life Spec Racer 4 driver, Denny Strickland, who both Steve and I just saw this past week at the Hallett Motor Racing Circuit in, as I like to call it, the middle of nowhere. Oh, and Jamison Huffman goes around now, too, in the exact same place. Hallett Motor Racing Circuit, we call it the middle of nowhere. It's halfway between Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma City. And you know, I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't something down on the track surface there that we're seeing almost every single car go around at turn 1 now.
I mean, yeah, or it's just a commentator's curse, but yeah, I know. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough turn. You got to get on the brakes real hard and carry some good speed, because speaking of getting the brakes hard, he saw Wayne Buttermore get on him real hard there.
Yeah, got a lot of had the rear end step out on him under braking there. The rear end got very, very light. The front straight here at Summit Point Raceway, again, 10 turns, 2.1 miles. The front straight, 3/4 of a mile, and if you can carry a good amount of speed out of turn 10, most of these Spec Racer Fords, I think, are probably carrying somewhere around between 85 and 95 miles an hour past the apex at turn 10. They're getting down to about 120 miles an hour before they get into the braking zone at turn 1. And so, you stand on those brakes and the rear end can get awfully light on you. And that's been one of the, I guess, one of the nitpicks that drivers have had with the Spec Racer Ford chassis pretty much since it came into iRacing. I guess probably now 13 or 14 years ago, is that maybe even in relation to the real-life Spec Racer Fords, perhaps a little dealing with maybe lift-off oversteer a little bit more than the real car, and also just getting very, very light, that you really have to keep your foot in the throttle to keep the rear end from going around on you.
Yeah, you got to be real cautious. I was driving this car earlier today, and yeah, just being super cautious, and my average lap time, Greg, was a little slower. I'd probably be qualified right now about 19th. So, I was just working hard and trying to figure out what these drivers have to go through, and I've learned very quickly that I don't know what they're going through. I'm too slow.
Well, and you said you'd think you'd be qualified 19th, and you realize there are only 18 drivers on track currently, right? That was okay. Just wanted to make sure I didn't miss something.
I probably would have been so slow. They would have just put me down to 20th.
There you go. They give you a row all to yourself. They give you a split start. You could start about 20 feet behind the rest of the field. Is that the way it works?
Yeah, I would really appreciate that, so I can just kind of get a good good surroundings of the drivers around me, and if I screw up and I don't hit the brakes or something, I'm not going to hit anybody. So that would be nice to give them the head start, because it's not for my benefit, it's for theirs.
Whoa, there you go. There's the number 80 machine of Whitney Strickland. And Whitney is a real-life Spec Racer Ford driver, pretty accomplished one at that. A little more damage in the front of that machine than I would normally expect to see from Mr. Strickland, and as he makes his way around. Now, we also saw Greg Mack go off at turn 10 a little while ago and get on the binders, just miss the tire wall and the famous magnetic rock that is out at turn 10 at Summit Point Raceway. I'll tell you, Avery, it was actually pretty good. It felt like old home week. I went up to Summit about, I guess, 3 weeks ago now, that we had a driver's school, a competition licensing school for those up-and-coming Sports Car Club of America racers. So a couple days of intense coaching and intense learning for about 60 drivers over the course of the weekend. But I'll tell you, it felt good to be home. As I said, Summit Point has been my home track since 2003, and because of my announcing schedule, it's been probably about 2 years since I'd been up there. And you get there and you breathe the fresh air, that breath, that fresh West Virginia air. that wasn't filled with tire smoke like that, and you know, it felt really good to be home. Matter of fact, first weekend for the DC region of the Sports Car Club of America. Their Mid-Atlantic Road Racing Series is this coming weekend. So unfortunately, I can't make it, but two of my announcing partners in real life, both Bob Steele and Mike Wolf, will be out there calling the races.
Oh, it's awesome. You know, I'm going to be back home in Indiana in a couple weeks, hopefully. So that's not really my home track,
right.
but we'll call it close enough.
There you go, going for the Indy 500.
That and the Indy GP this year. So
there we go.
So yeah, I'm gonna be able to go to, you know, back home again in Indiana. So I'll be really cool. I'll be belting it at the top of my lungs.
All right, so as you can see here, qualifying, we've got a couple drivers still making their way around. At this point, they've all set their last flying laps, but qualifying has concluded. And if you take a look at the timing pylon there, you can see where our drivers lie, and pretty darn close at the front of the field there. You can see the separation between second and third, 8 thousandths of a second. The separation on row number between row 2 and row 3, 1/1000th of a second between 6th and 7th, 74 thousandths. Really close running here at Summit Point Raceway, Summit Point Motorsports Park. And can't wait to get things underway as we wait now for the number 700 car. That's Joaquin Effinger to complete his, call it a cool down lap. I believe that we're probably going to end up cutting those guys' laps a little short here in a few moments, but we've got both Effinger and then the number 75 of Suraj Pradhan getting in the last little bit of practice before we grid cars up. But here we go. Avery, we've got our starting grid for today's race. Why don't you run it on down for us?
Well, we're back for another great season at the Ray Sports Racing League, and none other than Murphy Nichols from SBS Racing is going to start on the pole. And then you got young Jamison Huffman in second, and then the man Stevie Ray from Ray Sports Racing third, Zach Burke, the Canadian, always quick, Morgan Burkhardt, another young driver here in the third row, and then this is a guy I look out for, Greg Mack, Team Esports Racer, always puts in a good effort. He's so much fun to watch. We got Elias Roman in 7th and Joaquin Effinger in 8th. Bob Casera 9th, and rounding out the top 10, Charles Vaccaro. Then Mike Taylor 11th. Mike Taylor 11th. Then he could take it after Suraj. Suraj Pradhan. That's a driver I always enjoy watching. Always putting on an effort. You know, he might not be battling for the win all the time, but I tell you what, he's always battling somebody.
Very aggressive driver. All right, so starting 13th in the number 80 machine is Whitney Strickland, as I mentioned, a Spec Racer 4 driver in real life. Andrew Wozencroft in the number 280 machine. He will start 14th, and John Casey and Mike James, Wayne Buttermore, and Joe Camilleri. Joe Camilleri, an H production Volkswagen Scirocco driver, and he can run the wheels off of a Jetta TDI Cup car in iRacing. And then we've got 19th Richard Franco, which would mean that Avery McDonald, he'd be starting 21st. All right, so we've got the field here, and they are just now about ready to start their pace lap around this 2.1 mile 10-turn course, Avery. And you know, a bit of a surprise here to see Jamison Huffman and Murphy Nichols gridded up on the front row, and definitely looking forward to see this. Of course, Murphy Nichols in that SBS, the Smoketown Brewery car, and then Jamison Huffman and Morgan Burkhardt representing ASR, the All Sports Racing team, harkening back to their days, their earliest days running in go-karts out in Northern Virginia. Now, here are a couple quick notes as the drivers are making it around, and maybe we'll talk about this a little bit more as the race goes on, but we got some real big news in the iRacing world today, especially, or not today, but last week, especially as it affects our Spec Racer 4 drivers, in that coming in June, iRacing is going to be updating the spec of the Spec Racer 4 to what is now known in Sports Car Club of America Racing is Spec Racer Ford Gen 3. Whereas these cars are based off of the older 1.9 liter iron block old Ford Escort motors with a 5-speed transmission. And also Goodyear bias ply tires. The Gen 3 series is going to be based on, with the new tire model, on the new and recent Hoosier spec tires that the real Gen 3 cars run. But more importantly, they're going to be based now on the 1.6 liter Ford Fiesta motor that is powering these cars in real life. They're a little bit lighter. They put out more power than that old Escort motor does. And in real life, here around Summit Point, good for about another 3 to 4 seconds a lap. The Spec Racer Ford Gen 3s usually doing in the low 121s here at Summit. Also going to give the car bigger brakes to be able to haul it down better from those higher speeds as well. So a real big change. There's one other change, and we'll talk about that in just a few moments once this race gets underway. But as we have the pace car now pull into the pit lane, it's going to be a 20-minute sprint to the checkered flag. We've got the two teammates, Murphy Nichols and Jamison Huffman, leading the field out of turn 10, accelerating slightly, and there we go. We've got the green flag, and moving quickly to the lead is Murphy Nichols, with Huffman in the number 89 car right behind. And then side by side, we've got Stevie Ray in that red and silver number 11 car with Zach Burke in the number 13. And they are going to go down into turn 1 under braking for the very first time, side by side. Oh, and do we have a little contact right behind them there between Roman and Burkhardt, Avery?
Yeah, it looked like just a little bit of contact there. You know, the start of the race is where you have the best opportunity to make passes. So we'll see what's going to happen here. This is a really fun little part of this racetrack.
Yeah, as they come out of turn 3, and definitely as they now make their way down into the chute, which is turn 4 here, the very fastest corner on the track. These cars will probably be doing north of about 115 miles an hour under normal conditions here, as they now start to straighten out just a little bit. On the start there, I know you had mentioned that we should be looking out for Greg Mack. He has dropped now back from 6th to 8th. Both Bob Kucera and Elias Roman move up in the order in just the first couple turns, as the drivers make their way now out of turn number 8 up the hill, having gone through what we call the talent section at Summit Point, the bottom end of the course, and they're now rounding turn number 10 for the very first time. Our leader, Huffman, drops a wheel. Nichols drops a wheel, but as they now make their way down the straight, we'll see if the two drivers that have never raced a real race car at Summit Point, that's Huffman and Nichols, go side by side down into turn 1, and it looks like Jamison Huffman, he's got the position, and he's going to take over first place. As look at this, Murphy Nichols goes off on the outside of turn 1, drops wheels into the grass. He falls now all the way back in the 5th position. And probably in the 6th position, so he's got to really work his way back up.
Yeah, Murphy's got a real fast-looking race car that he's trying to wheel around there. So back to 7th. We're going to take a quick little replay of Murphy Nichols there in the 5, was leading into the turn. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and he just kind of got it a little wrong. He turned in maybe a little bit early. And ran out of room on the outside, tried to check up to keep from going off into the gravel there, and loses 5 positions. But the field now making their way up through turn 8, back up the hill, and underneath the bridge. And let's see if Mr. Burkhardt hugs the track over there. He gets over a little bit towards the center of the track. You'll find a good way to cut down distance between turn 8 coming before the bridge and turn 10 after the bridge. Whoa! Is that... who was that? Was that Huffman? Yeah, it wasn't Huffman. That was Burkhardt. I think that was Burkhardt in the number 40 car that went off at turn 10, and he's got Murphy Nichols right beside him. But we have a new leader, and that is Stevie Ray. Now getting ahead of Zach Burke in the silver number 13, and then we've got Jamison Huffman. That's your lead 3. They've really separated themselves out now from Murphy Nichols and Morgan Burkhardt, who have both had some issues keeping their cars on course. You can see there's a little bit of body damage from Burkhardt there as they come out of turn 3. But now our top 3 drivers starting to fan out as they roll down the hill, and then hard under braking the second very hard braking zone there, as we can now see as Murphy Nichols gets hammered going down into turn 5, Avery.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of hammer, but you know, sometimes you see in the cars with a little bit of damage and they end up being really fast. So only 4 minutes into this 20-minute race, so plenty of time to get what you need going.
Yeah, those ASR cars, they're definitely having some issues here. You can see they're trying to stay in the draft and work together, but having a little bit of an issue. So the 2 major braking zones here are, of course, turn 1 at the end of the long straightaway, and then when you come down through the chute, the downhill right-hander, turn 5, got to get hard on the brakes going down, or pardon me, the downhill right-hander, turn 4, got to get hard on the brakes going into 5. But now we've got a new leader. It's the 13 is Zach Burke, and you can see where Huffman and Stevie Ray and Burke are all jockeying for position going down into turn number 1. And you'd think that if both Huffman and, if Nichols and Burkhardt could, just kind of get their acts together, they'd be up in this lead pack, as our top 3 cars already very early in this race have decided that it's time to battle.
Yeah, I mean, anytime we're able to make a pass here, you got to make the battle. And you saw Jamison Huffman fall back a little bit to Stevie Ray. Man, Ray putting on a really good run, trying to show these young guns how to go around Summit Point.
Yeah, there you go. So we mentioned that the car is kind of looks very much like a Spec Racer Ford racer out of Texas in real life, and of course Stevie Ray's out of Dallas-Fort Worth area. Denny Stripling, who was at Hallett Motor Racing Circuit this past weekend. Steve Ray was one of his crew members, and we were talking a little bit about those updates coming to the Spec Racer Fords here on the iRacing platform. And Denny Stripling actually put in a lot of testing with Steve Ray on Steve's sim rig, and passed that information about the new specs for the car back to iRacing. So both Denny and Steve playing a real big part in those new specs for the car. So the one other thing I didn't mention was in all those changes that they're making, and here's a very big change, is that they're going to be going to a sequential 5-speed SADEV transmission in the Spec Racer Ford Gen 3 spec in iRacing. What makes that so significant is the Sports Car Club of America, which is the biggest home for these cars in real life, and there are hundreds and hundreds of them around the country. They are just this year testing out in very small batches those SADEV transmissions, and I don't think they've actually made the decision yet as to whether or not they'll be raced next year. So iRacing actually kind of leading the way with the spec for these Spec Racer Fords.
Oh yeah, it's super cool to see him make a little bit of change. Like we said earlier, this car is old on the surface, but one thing that this car does though is puts on some really great racing when you get drivers of this caliber.
Yeah, without a doubt. As we look back now, Zach Burke, our leader, a little bit of a tap from Stevie Ray, looks like. Ooh. Going down into the braking zone at 1, and we have a couple whiffs there of brake lockup and maybe a little dust and dirt down on the track surface as well, as Zach Burke does continue to lead the way through turn 1 as we follow now Bob Kucera in the white and blue number 15 car. This is the battle for 6th with Greg Mack. Greg having a few issues during qualifying, but in that number 2 machine, but he is back underway. And then you can see Elias Roman with a little bit of damage, well, maybe more than a little bit of damage to that body, a little bit further back in the field there, currently running in 8th. Kucera, having made up 3 positions, started 9th today. He leapfrogged both Greg Mack and Elias Roman, I believe, on lap number 4. And we're working lap 6 now. Let's go back, take a quick replay here of Jamison Huffman and Murphy Nichols and Morgan Burkhardt as they now come down together. Oh, look at that as Nichols has some issues, has the rear end step out on him at turn 5, and his teammate Morgan Burkhardt gets into him. Those two drivers seemingly every time we look at them today, they're having some issues. So all right, now let's go back up to the lead and their teammate Jamison Huffman going down in the one side by side with Stevie Ray. Huffman with the shorter way around. It looks like he's going to be able to hold off Stevie Ray, but no, cannot get over enough to hold off on the block, and we'll have to see if Stevie Ray can stick to the inside and maybe make a move going down into turn 3 as we jump back to Murphy Nichols. And no, looks as though Nichols, pardon me, oh gosh, I'm getting these three all mixed up. Jamison Huffman in the number 89 car. He's able to hold off Stevie Ray. But Zach Burke, if you saw that, Avery, when they were going down the front straight, Zach Burke was maybe 10 car lengths back from our leaders. But he's made up all that ground now as they go into the talent section here at Summit.
Yeah, it starts off with a really good corner exit, and it finishes off with a whole lot of toe. These cars are super strong in the toe, but Zach's always shows speed. Definitely would have noticed from the last couple of races, his corner exit is something he's, kind of a step up on a lot of the other competitors. It's something he's been really strong at, and it's very important. Definitely here at Summit Point, because there's some good straightaways. If you have bad corner exits, you ain't making any moves.
Yeah, and you can see here what the draft does as Zach Burke now moves all the way, gets the toe off of Stevie Ray, then moves out to the inside. Stevie Ray going to try and come down all the way to the inside. No, but Huffman getting very defensive. This might open things up for the 13 car, as Huffman's definitely going to have to check up. And he's now trying to hold off Stevie Ray, but look at that. The number 13 is Zach Burke, goes all the way around the outside of turn 1 to take the lead, goes from 3rd to 1st in one corner, and Huffman goes around. Jamison Huffman loses the rear end going through turn 3, going to try and get that car back underway, but he's going to lose a lot of positions here as both Burkhardt, Nichols, and Mack go by. And I think there you go, the 15. Let's take a look at it again here under replay as they come into 3, as the 13 of Burke goes over across the nose. And was there a tap there, Avery? It looks a little hard to tell. It looked as though maybe Stevie Ray got a little tap on the rear of Jamison Huffman. But let's jump back to the live action as Huffman's now got to try and work his way back through the field. He goes from 1st back to 7th, having lost 5 positions on that exchange there.
Yep, lost a little bit of spots there, but Huffman's got an opportunity to make up some ground on the competitors in front of him. He's got to put the head down and put that pedal to the floor. So we'll see if he's going to be able to make some moves.
All right, well, we saw that he obviously had a little bit of pace. He does have some damage there now, and we now have the 15 car of Kucera coming down the inside, trying to take a position back from Huffman. And let's see if he can get it done. Looks like Huffman carries a little bit more speed around the outside there, and he's got the position if he stays right there going down into turn number 3. But you'll notice here that Morgan Burkhardt currently running in 3rd. He's been able to separate himself out. And there goes the 15 car off into the gravel. He's just now recovering. So looks like everybody's having some trouble keeping cars on the pavement here.
Yeah, it's a tough track. I mean, these guys all have some really good racecraft, and when these drivers make a little bit of a mistake, that's where you know it's a tough track combo.
Absolutely. The one thing about Summit is it's got great flow. It's got sections of track that really challenge different parts of your racing repertoire, whether it's braking, whether it's smoothness. A lot of racecraft involved here in trying to find places to pass. I mean, it's not, some people I know that go and race this course, at least in iRacing, they'll complain that it's very difficult to pass here. And I think a lot of it is you just have to know how the distinctive parts of this track, when and where you can pass. There are a lot of places for passing opportunities here at Summit, more than just turn 1 here and also turn 5. All right, so we're tracking right now. This is the battle right now for 5th, where we've got the number 2 of Greg Mack, we've got Elias Roman, and we've got our former leader, Jamison Huffman, all in a row here battling it out as they make their way down. We've got just ahead of him Murphy Nichols, who was also a former leader. He is currently running 4th, about 10 car lengths back from Morgan Burkhardt in 3rd. Oh, Jamison Huffman, more issues there, under braking going in the 5. Looks like the number 15 car of Kucera goes around as well. And Avery, this is just starting to look like a crash and spin fest here at Summit.
Yeah, it's definitely starting to lean more towards the crash and spin than the smooth and straight, but that makes that race a little more interesting. Drivers with a little damage. You see the 3, you know, Roman, he's got a little damage, and then they're all a little crinkled up there. Greg.
Well, but they're not all a little crinkled up. We were just looking at Mike Taylor, that black with red number 66 machine, the Riding Shotgun Motorsports. He's still clean right in the middle of all these cars. Well, and there's the announcer's curse for you, ladies and gentlemen. As we have Huffman go off, we have Mack go off, we have the 66 car of Taylor go off, Bob Kucera goes off. Wow. All right, let's take a look at
lick
this
the
again.
stamp and send the gift card.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just made ourselves internet famous. We're gonna be on Twitter this week. There you go.
Are they gonna disappear?
Yes, they are. And they go up over the berm and into the woods. And you know, Avery, I've made that trip in real life, and it ain't no fun because there's nothing but big, thick tree stumps there. All right, so let's jump back now up to the front of the field with Zach Burke and our leader in the number 13 machine with Stevie Ray running in 2nd. Margin right now a little bit under a 2nd, so Steve is definitely still right on the edges of the draft there, and if he can make up some ground, he might have something for Zach Burke, as we're now under 5 minutes remaining in this 20-minute sprint race. And there is the not so clean anymore 66 machine of Mike Taylor, and he's got Mike James in the 071 right behind him. James in the cars was a Speed McQueen car there. He's looking pretty clean for now, which might be the kiss of death as they go down under braking into turn 1. Got those eyes staring at us as he goes under braking.
Yeah, he's just staring at you and says, "Hey, don't curse me. Don't curse me, Greg."
Now, you notice there that Mike Taylor's car doesn't look all that bad. You know, he got caught up in that little incident there with Greg Mack and Huffman, and then Mack came across his nose, and you see a little scuffing there, but not a ton of damage. Certainly not to the extent of Kucera and Huffman, who both went off into the woods.
Yeah, nice little battle here for 4th position. The podium pending mistakes is pretty much set, but I mean, Murphy Nichols, he definitely wants 4th, but you know, Roman, he's been running a really strong race.
Yeah, and there you go. Look at this and as we're watching those two drivers right now. If we look at the timing board, our 2 leaders, Zach Burke and Stevie Ray. Stevie Ray definitely closed things down. He was about 0.2 of a second faster than our leader that last time by. Again, I think caught up in the draft for them as they come now down through turn 3 with these drivers turning. And Zach Burke runs wide coming out of 3. And now the advantage that you have at Summit, when you go through that gravel trap, the track pretty much comes right back to you. So if you can straighten the wheel up and not fight the car, you don't necessarily lose a lot of pace here as they now make their way down through 6A and 6B. But as we have just about 2 minutes and 10 seconds left to go in this 20-minute race, looks like when these drivers come around turn 10. They'll be starting their penultimate lap. I think they'll have probably 2 more laps with these drivers running only a minute 20 or so, 20 seconds or so. All right, so we're back on board now with the number 5 of Murphy Nichols, and he's got Elias Roman in the number 3 car right behind him in tow. And you look at Roman's car, that car is all kinds of beat up. I can't imagine that car is tracking very straight. But you notice there, and that's got to be disconcerting for Roman, that Murphy Nichols has had some internet connectivity issues pretty much from the start of the race here, kind of blinking in and out. That might account for some of the problems that he's been having on track.
Yeah, I'm not quite 100% sure how the damage works here on iRacing, but Murphy Nichols got a little, a little less angle on that wing, so maybe it's a little bit faster in the straights, but a little wide there,
All right, and Roman comes underneath, turns in a little bit later. He's going to try to sneak by, but as you can see here on the fairly short run down to turn 3, Nichols has position going in. And what Roman would want to do is just that, try to move over driver's left to see if he could make the run down to the chute before Nichols gets over to driver's left, and he can't get there in time. Let's see what happens as they go under braking. Now, you remember I was talking about the drivers that go all the way to driver's left instead of shoving the car down, or probably go all the way driver's right instead of shoving the car down driver's left. Well, Roman did just that, but it doesn't matter because Murphy Nichols, he goes around at turn 6B. That's a real tough place to be towards the end of a race. Gets real loose as Stevie Ray now battling it out for the lead. It is now going to be a 1-lap battle here for the win in Spec Racer Ford. The white flag, you could see it, is in the air. Stevie Ray, he's got position on Zach Burke as they go down into turn 1. Burke going to try that move again to go all the way around the outside, and if he can stay up close, he's going to have position. Going down into turn 1, Stevie Ray is going to try and pinch over a little bit, but maybe not enough. And there you go, Zach Burke, he manages now to hold on to the lead here as they go through turn 3. A lot cleaner this time, Avery, than the last time by as they start to make their way down the chute.
Yeah, a little bit cleaner that time around. Burke is going to lead Steve Ray. That's just, this is the point. You see, take a look at that suspension trying to steal those settings for the race. I'm just joking. But man, Stevie Ray all over Burke, and Ray's going to have the toe coming to the line. He's got to get a good couple corners here if he wants a chance to win this thing.
All right, they're coming through turn 8 now. Going to head up the hill. This is going to be the last time they'll pop underneath the bridge there and set up for the final run to the checker. Little light break in these cars, get back on the throttle, and as they come through and onto the front straight, will Stevie Ray have enough of a toe that he can pop out and get past? It's going to be close. They come to the start-finish line, and your winner in round 1, season 2 of the Ray eSports Racing League and Spec Racer Ford, Zach Burke. Stevie Ray will come home second, and let's see, Morgan Burkhardt looks like he's going to bring that car home in third. And Whitney Strickland and John Casey. I don't think, well, look at this. Maybe Strickland's going to run home and finish this race backwards. He has no front cowling left in that car, and Casey came down. He got it kind of wrong under braking. But Strickland didn't do so hot there either. The two came together coming out of turn 5. Hopefully, I think we're running out of time here. I'd love to see a replay of those two cars as they came through.
I tell you what, though, that looks more like a car more common up in the Northeast. Open wheel modified. That could pass as an open wheel modified.
Or demolition derby.
Well, they have those too. They got those two around here too. But man, what a run!
There you go. So Whitney Strickland's going to bring the car home in 8th, and John Casey comes across the line. He will finish 11th. So let's go run down the order here. Again, Zach Burke taking the win over Stevie Ray. Morgan Burkhardt will take the last step on the podium in that number 40 ASR machine. Murphy Nichols goes from second back to, from the lead and the pole back to 4th. Mike Taylor will finish 5th. Elias Roman will finish 6th. Then Andrew Wozencroft, Mike James, Charles Vaccaro, and as we just saw there. I thought he was going to go backwards across the line, but Whitney Strickland rounds out the top 10. By the way, everybody, of course, failed to mention this race is sponsored by RaceVoice. You can find out more about their data acquisition products, gives you in-car audio feedback from your AIM or Motec systems. You can find out more about them at racevoice.com. So let's see if we can get some of our podium finishers in here, and hopefully Mr. Branch can give us a hand with that. And we will talk to, now we'll talk to Morgan Burkhardt. Avery, why don't you pick up Mr. Burkhardt here, finished third tonight in Spec Racer Ford.
Hey Morgan, congrats on running a nice race, finishing up on the podium. How did the race go for you?
Thank you. It was kind of strange. Off the start, I was just trying to, keep it cautious and run with the front pack. But combination of making a little bit a few mistakes, getting boxed up going into 5, getting a little bit of front damage and rear damage. But after that, it was just managing pace and trying to manage gaps between the guys in front and the guys behind.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough track to do that, and you're able to adapt well to finish on the podium. This is such a fun series. I know Greg, Dennis, and I enjoy calling it, but we didn't get a chance to talk to you much last season, if I don't recall. But I mean, say a little bit something about this series. What do you think of it? Like, what makes it so great?
Well, first of all, thank you to Steve Ray for setting this up and Greg Hubler. It's awesome to, no matter where you are in the field, you always have someone to race with, and the quality of the racing is it's amazing. You won't find it anywhere else, and it's just awesome.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Before we let you go, anybody you'd like to thank?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank my parents for letting me do this. It's a lot of fun. Murphy and Jameson for helping me set qualifying times and working together in the races. And yeah, definitely a big thank you to Murphy for the paint. It's beautiful.
It is absolutely beautiful. I think it's one of Greg's favorites. So
absolutely it is.
So, well, great to have you in here, Morgan. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, I hope to be back here again.
All right, there you go. That was Morgan Burkhardt, finished third tonight in Spec Racer Ford 3. Now we're going to bring in Stevie Ray, finished second tonight. And Steve, we've got a lot to talk about here this evening. First off, congratulations on your run. Tell us a little bit about your battles with up at the front of the field there. It looked like some of your competitors might have had a little trouble keeping cars on course tonight.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We were all so close, and I got to the front there, and I thought I might be able to scoot away a little bit, and I got a little wide in one and had to back off, and they caught me, and then it was on from there again. And I hate it for Jameson. We were all so close, and he got a little crooked, and I tapped him, I guess, and I'll have to go back and see, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I thought there might have been a small little tap there going into turn 3 when you guys went in side by side. But real quick, because of course, as I was mentioning during the race, Steve and I were hung out quite a bit this past weekend at Hallett Motor Racing Circuit, where he was helping out Denny Stripling with his Spec Racer Ford Gen 3 machine. Denny, I believe, he took the win on Sunday at Howard, if I remember correctly, and it was a great run from him. But we were also talking a little bit about some of the changes coming up in the Spec Racer Ford and how it's represented in iRacing. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, we're getting the Gen 3 Spec Racer Ford that is out in the real world and been raced in SCCA for 5 years now, I guess. They're working on some updates. It's got a 30 horsepower more and a little lighter, and also has the Hoosier radials instead of the Goodyear bias ply. So it's going to be quite different, but a lot of the same characteristics. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully it'll be representative enough where some of the SCCA guys can use it as a training tool a little bit more than they have been able to.
Yeah, in the last couple of years. Now, of course, you played a little part in with the folks up at iRacing in getting this spec together, and brought in some of your spec racer forward buddies like Denny Stripling to kind of validate the setups. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did some testing in the background for them, some with the tires and the first few models of the Gen 3. And Denny and I had communicated a few times, and I have a virtual setup, and had talked to him about coming over sometime to try that out. The VR, he had never done that. And then this came up, and I said, "Hey, Denny, why don't you come over and test out this new Gen 3 and VR, and we can give them some good feedback." And so that's what happened. So it was pretty cool.
Very, very cool. All right. Well, Steve, I want to thank you for everything. Again, it was great meeting both you and your son Greg this weekend out at Hallett, and I'm hoping we can get together again soon. I want to thank you for all that you've done in bringing this league together, and also working behind the scenes on the original SCCA league as well. And you've really put together really something nice here. With I think you'll be a little shocked when you go back and watch the recording of this Spec Racer Ford race, but maybe it's not quite up to what you would expect. But typically we see some great, clean racing with some conscientious drivers, and hopefully we'll see that a little bit later this evening when we have our Pro Formula Mazdas head on out. So thanks again to Stevie Ray, and Steve, we'll see you next week.
All right. I'm going to try to double dip. So again, thanks to you, Greg, and it was good to meet you this weekend, and we will see you later.
Absolutely. Well, I guess then we'll see you in about 5 minutes. All right, everybody. That's Stevie Ray. Finished second tonight in Spec Racer Ford, and I don't believe we have our winner, do we?
Nope.
No, apparently not. So, all right, everybody. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a quick little break. We're going to get set up for our second race of the evening. That is the Pro Formula Mazdas. Again, 15-minute qualifying, 20-minute sprint race here at Summit Point Motorsports Park. You're watching Season 2 of the Ray Esports Racing League here on Apex Racing TV. We'll be back in just a few moments.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world. including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfalla,
And Ray Alfalla is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke,
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong,
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
and many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS telemetry logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
And we're back here at Summit Point Motorsports Park, Summit Point Raceway, for round 1 of season 2 of the Ray Esports Racing League, presented by RaceVoice and Driver61. I'm Greg Ginsberg, joined by Avery McDonald, and we have on track right now with just about 3 minutes remaining in their 15-minute qualifying session, the Pro Formula Mazdas. While they start to wrap things up, and we'll throw that timing pylon up here in just a second so you can see where these drivers stand, we'll talk about the one class that is not racing with us here this week, and that is the MX-5s. Just like we ran down to let you know what happened in season 1 for the Spec Racer Fords, we'll do that for MX-5 as well, where Ryan Maloney took the championship with Mitchell Peak and Charles Bailey finishing 2nd and 3rd, with then Murphy Nichols and John Allen finishing 4th and 5th. And at the national championships, at the runoffs at Indianapolis, it was Zach Burke with Ryan Maloney finishing 2nd, Brennan Horan finishing 3rd, and then we had Richard Spicer and Jordy Fike rounding out the top 5 there. Again, we will see the Mazda MX-5s as well as the Spec Racer Fords next week, next Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern from Laguna Seca. All right, so we've got now just about 2 minutes left to go in qualifying here, and you can see that much like things were somewhat tight in Spec Racer Ford, they're tight here in Pro Formula Mazda as well, as long as you're not talking about the top 2 cars. It looks like Tyler Campbell, and he's brought the car back to the pits. It looks like he's got a stranglehold on the rest of the field here, Avery.
Oh yeah, put just a blazing lap down for Campbell, and then you got Huffman in 2nd, and keep that in mind, that's Justin Huffman in 2nd place in that 2-2-3, and oh man, these Pro Mazda cars are fun to watch. You see Burkhardt go into the gravel.
There you go. Yeah, running a little bit wide there, and so as we mentioned, Justin Huffman is currently running second in class. That's Jamison's father. And Justin runs a Formula Enterprises 2, a Formula car in Sports Car Club of America racing. Actually very similar to these Pro Formula Mazdas. Maybe a little bit down on power, but the chassis is very, very similar. And you can see that he is doing quite well. We're following him on track right now in that red 223 machine as he makes his way around for what will probably be, if not his last flying lap, it'll be his second to last flying lap. And he is definitely putting the coal to it here, trying to make up ground on our provisional pole sitter, right back behind. And now he's going to have to make up ground on Antonio Guarda as well, as he just now jumps up to second here in qualifying. But look how close things are back behind Guarda. 300s, 800s, 6,000s. Very, very tight here as Huffman crosses the line just before the checkered flag comes out. So we'll see if he goes to take one more flying lap, and it looks like he's still in it here, trying to get around, trying to get back. Ooh, a little bit of a bobble there going through turn 2. But we'll see if he can make up a little bit of ground on Garda and put himself up on the front row. And pretty clear now that's not going to happen, as Huffman's qualifying session, Justin Huffman's qualifying session, is now over. Oh, and there we go, as son Jamison goes flying for the trees.
Yeah, Jameson's happy, really good time, but, when Pops is a little bit quicker than you, that can definitely frustrate someone.
There you go, Morgan Burkhardt now making his way through the carousel, rear end of that car, flying around. Is that is that meant to look like a Sbarro pizza place? I'm trying to read the rear wing and see what it says there, but I mean, the whole car looks like it's got that Italian theme to it. But all of a sudden, I want like really horrible airport pizza. All right there, and Morgan Burkhardt coming off of his Spec Racer Ford race, where he finished in third. He is sixth here in qualifying. So we've got the drivers now. They're going to be gridding up here in just a moment, and give you an idea where we finished up at the end of the season in Pro Formula Mazda. Miles Crabb took the win at Indianapolis for the runoffs with Tyler Campbell and Jamison Huffman finishing third. Andrew Abbott, Spec Racer, Formula V driver. We'll talk a little bit about Formula V here in a moment as well, in a few moments. And Morgan Burkhardt, fourth and fifth. So great running there. And that's how we ended up season 1. But now we are getting ready for Pro Formula Mazda, presented by RaceVoice. Again, you can find out more about their in-car systems, both for the real world and virtual world, at racevoice.com. And let's now run down the grid, Avery. Starting off on the pole tonight, it is going to be Tyler Campbell with a fast lap of a 105.394, a full second clear of our outside pole sitter, Antonio Guarda. Justin Huffman is going to start third with John Vogel right beside him, only a couple thousandths back. Then your third row, right behind Daddy, Jamison Huffman in the number 89 car will start fifth with his teammate Morgan Burkhardt starting sixth. Then we've got Murphy Nichols in that Smoketown Brewery car. He'll start seventh in the number 5 car. Then Stevie Ray came in second just a few moments ago in the Spec Racer Ford race. He will start on the outside of the 4th row. Then we've got Joaquin Effinger. He's going to start 9th with Charles Vaccaro. Right beside him in 10th, and Andrew Wozencroft and Wayne Buttermore. Then we've got John Casey and a late arrival, Graham Lofhead. Lofhead, another Formula V driver. He's going to be starting off at the rear of the field in 14th. And we should have the pace car rolling off here in just a moment to start our pace lap around this 2.1 mile, 10 turn Summit Point Raceway course. And we see the start finish lights there. Are we going to have nope, there we go. There's the formation lap. We just couldn't see the pace car. I thought we might have a standing start for a moment there, Avery.
Oh, I tell you what, this is going to be great. Not only is our times close, but One thing I'm looking out for here, Greg, is let's see if Jamison Huffman's gonna pull a nice move on Pops into turn number 1 and say, I want to be the lead Huffman in this pack.
Go. Let's see if the number 223 of Huffman can hold off his son. Of course, I believe Jameson's going to be starting right behind his father, so going to be a little bit more difficult to find his way around, at least through turn 1. But you know, again, as I was mentioning here, it's a little bit different for the Formula cars, I think, but a lot of different opportunities to pass here at Summit, a lot that we don't normally see here in iRacing. Besides those normal runs down in the turn 1 and turn 5, as you come through turn 6B on the backside of the carousel over by the bleachers, if you can stick the nose down low, you can get around as you then make that left-hand bend set up to go up the hill. You don't see that a lot here. But I think in the Formula cars with the downforce, it probably won't be a factor there. You typically see that a lot in the tin top cars and the slower tin top cars, for that matter. But we've got the 14 car field now making their way around turn 5, already pretty well gridded up here, and you're not seeing a lot of cars, at least through here, trying to scrub in their tires, get some heat in the equipment. We'll probably see that as they come through turn 8 and start heading up the hill.
Yeah, you got to be cautious getting the tires warmed up. Definitely at this track with some tight corners. So, you know, now is the time to do it. That safety car getting ready to pull into pit road, and we're going to start this second race of the night with these Pro Mazda cars with Tyler Campbell leading us to the green flag. We'll see if Huffman's going to try to make a move on Huffman, make it a Huffman sandwich.
All right, pace car is into the pits, and Tyler Campbell, I'll get his name right eventually tonight. Tyler Campbell coming around the outside of turn number 10 and onto the front straight. They start to gain a little bit of speed, waiting for the green flag. And there you go. We are now under green, and they are going to, well, maybe we're not under green yet. There you go. There is the green flag. I jumped it more than the drivers did. And now under acceleration, heading down into turn 1, and you can see Tyler Campbell keeping that car center of track, trying to keep Justin Huffman from making a move down the inside, and he successfully holds both him and Antonio Guarda off as they come down now out of turn 2, heading into turn number 3. And it's Campbell, it's Guarda, it's now Morgan Burkhardt who's gotten around Murphy Nichols and going off into the dirt. Murphy Nichols now at turn 3. Oh, and to add insult to injury, the 700 of Joaquin Effinger gets into Murphy Nichols in the gravel trap. But our leader now, Tyler Campbell, starting to open things up already, come through 6B, and leading by almost 5 car lengths over Antonio Guarda. Over to you, Murphy. Or pardon me, over to you, Avery.
Well,
Someone.
I've been called different, but you know what? I've been a part of a team called Murphy's Finest, so it's not the first time I've been called something with Murphy. But we'll take a look at the replay.
Replay. Yeah, look at that. Ooh. You know, you were talking about the Huffmans maybe getting together and what happened there. You take a look at the numbers, and I believe that was son on father. That was the 89 of Jamison getting into the back of the 223 of Justin Huffman. So, wow, you know, Avery, perhaps you incited the curse there that time, my friend.
Yep, definitely I'm definitely going to lick the stamp and send that gift card, because it's like commentator's curse.
Yeah, you might want to wait until Christmas to send it, though, I'm telling you.
Oh, yeah.
All right. All right, so we're following right now Stevie Ray. He is now up to 4th, makes up 4 positions as the 2 Huffmans and Murphy Nichols fall off course. Our new leader, or our new order here, Tyler Campbell, Antonio Guarda, Morgan Burkhardt moves up from 6th to 3rd position. That's where he finished the Spec Racer Ford race. We'll see if he can move up any further in the order. And we're on board right now with John Vogel coming right up to the back of Stevie Ray, carrying a ton of speed through turn 4. And they are now side by side going down into turn 1. under braking, trying to figure out who's going to be a little later on the brakes, and it is the #1 car of John Vogel. As they now come through, we'll jump back a little bit further, and there's Graham Lawfed in the 33 car. Remember, Lawfed started off at the tail end of the field in 14th. He's now up to 9th. Of course, it doesn't hurt that Murphy Nichols, Justin, and Jamison Huffman and Joaquin Effinger have all fallen back. And oh, is that Murphy Nichols again going off? Yes, it is. So it looks like Nichols has had, and I think, you know, we saw this during the first race. Nichols was having a lot of internet connectivity issues in old Fredneck, Maryland. But looks like he's back underway here, but that's got to be probably some of the issues that he's having over the course of both races here.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, having that connection issue makes it hard for not only yourself, but definitely for other drivers. So
all right,
it's one of those things you just kind of race.
Exactly. All right, so Stevie Ray and John Vogel going at it again. Now Vogel for the second lap in a row gets a great run out of turn 10, and Stevie Ray, he was able to draft up fairly close, but not quite close enough to show the nose going under braking in the turn 1. But real close there. Morgan Burkhardt starting to close things down just a little bit on Antonio Guarda in the battle for second as they now make their way down into turn 5. Now, the last time we saw Burkhardt here, he was getting maybe a little bit too hard on the throttle coming through turn 6, had the rear end stepping out on him quite a bit, moving that car from side to side a little bit more than forward, it seems. But that last time by looked pretty decent, and that last lap, he was about 2/10, actually about 1500ths faster than Antonio Guarda. So again, making up a little bit of ground there in that battle for second.
Yeah, putting on. Ooh, here he goes.
Yeah, he moves to the inside now, and we'll see if he can shift over just a little bit as he clears Guarda, but late on the brakes, and maybe making it a little bit easier for Guarda than need be. But Burkhardt, he's got enough of a position there, and he gets the pass done finally. Going into third, a new second-place runner in Pro Formula Mazda, presented by RaceVoice. That is Morgan Burkhardt.
Yeah, Burkhardt, I mean, yeah, Campbell's kind of checked away, but this battle's heating up. This has been a battle I've been keeping my eye on, and that's with the 7-3 of Wayne Buttermore and Graham Lawfed, and with John Casey just behind him. So we got a 3-way battle for the 8th spot, and man, I always like Buttermore's cars, nice and bright, and just, you know, really brightens up my day. Ooh.
And late under braking there, Graham Lawfed had to lock him up going down into turn 5. I think he expected, and let's see the replay there. Yeah, I think he expected Buttermore maybe to get back on the throttle a little bit earlier than he did, and had to definitely check up there before turning as they come out of turn 8. And you know, I'll tell you, if I was Graham Lawfed, I would not hug the left-hand side of the track there. I might come down underneath, come under the center of the bridge, and he'd get a better run. But he's in the draft. Let's see if he can keep the car where it is and maybe outbrake Buttermore. Now remember, Buttermore wasn't so hot on the brakes going into 5, but this time by, you can see Buttermore definitely later on the brakes than Graham Lawfed. Yeah, maybe I should give some coaching to these guys before they come out and race here. Is that possible, Mr. Ray?
I mean, I'll sign up for some of your some sessions.
Yeah.
I might not get any faster, but I tell you one thing, I'm gonna have more fun. That's for sure. Because when I go out there and race, I'm slow, but I'm just not having fun. I get a guy like Greg in my ear tell me what to do. I'm probably gonna laugh because he's got some good jokes, and 2, you know, if I spin out, I can blame him.
Well, I was going to say, if you want to see the difference, you watch what Morgan Burkhardt does coming out of turn 8, heading up the hill towards turn 10 versus what Lawfed did the lap before, and you can see where and why Morgan Burkhardt might be faster around this 2.1-mile course. And hopefully I didn't just jinx him. And you can see there as he goes into the gravel just a little bit, the track comes right back to you, and you continue on your way. So let's take a look now as he goes under braking, center of the track, turns in for turn number 5, then a quick little tap of the brakes to get set up for turn 6. 6A and 6B. And as he comes up through turn 8, he's going to track all the way out here, but watch what he does. He'll start moving his way over towards the center of the track there. And you'll notice then the track kind of comes back to him, and it allows him to knock maybe 10 to 15 feet off of the run. As opposed to Graham Lawfed, or as you can see now, much further back, sitting in third, John Vogel. So the question then becomes, what happened? What happened to Antonio Guarda? Guarda now in the pits. So let's see if we can take a look and see what happened here as we are following Burkhardt behind the wheel. There's Guarda right behind him as they come now down into turn number 3. And Guarda, and he drops the wheel on exit, spins the car around, gets to the tire wall, driver's left, and there are the couple little puffs of smoke. So that's what happened to Antonio Guarda. He is now on the pit lane trying to get that fast repair done, and hopefully we'll see him back out on track in a moment. But looks like his shot at a podium tonight is now done as we're just about 9 minutes into this 20-minute race.
Oh, he was having such a good run. The car just got a little out of shape, and, well, I mean, we'll just say it's a good thing there's tire barriers, because he would have launched himself into oblivion.
Yes, and I'm wondering if, he saw Burkhardt drop those wheels off into the gravel there and went to adjust where perhaps it wasn't necessary to do it, because as we said, when Burkhardt dropped the wheels, as long as you keep the steering nice and straight, the track comes right back to you. There's no reason to, unless you're way out in that gravel trap, no reason to get alarmed and start taking evasive action. But this battle is still going on right now between Lawfed and Buttermore. As you can see, Graham Lawfed has gotten around Wayne Buttermore, but which the last time we saw them, Buttermore was running in 7th, and now does Buttermore try to come down the inside? Not quite close enough to get it done. And right behind, we've got that purple number 78 of John Casey trying to make up a little bit ground. Let's take a look at their times that last time by. Casey actually almost 2 seconds off of Lawfed's and Buttermore's pace.
Yeah, just past the halfway point here, Greg. And we got 3 drivers out of the field so far, but there's still a lot of good battles. So take a look at Wayne Buttermore, a little bit wide. I'm trying to carry a little bit of speed into there. We'll see if he's going to be able to make up some time here on the last sector.
Yeah, and you can see as he went into turn 6A, the right-hander that starts off the carousel. I say usually you have a little bit of a tap of the brake to set the nose so that you can get the car turned in, and it looked like he had a lot of problems there getting turned in, had a little bit of push, and he's lost a little bit more ground to Lawfed.
Back into the front.
Yeah,
big
go back
lead
to our leader, and Tyler Campbell with a bit of a margin at the moment, almost 8-second margin. Back to Morgan Burkhardt running 2nd, and Burkhardt also with now that Antonio Guarda has gone off track with a pretty substantial buffer back to John Vogel in that number 1 car running 3rd.
Yeah, John Vogel, the final car on the podium. We got Stevie Ray from about 2 seconds back, so if Stevie Ray can just kind of limit a little bit of mistakes and maybe find a little bit of speed and hope Vogel screws up a little bit, he could have a good battle for the final spot on the podium. But good run for Stevie Ray. These drivers that pull double duty, or like they did a couple weeks ago at Indy, pulling triple duty, that impresses me a ton.
Yeah, to be able to jump out of one car with very little practice, go and set qualifying laps and be ready to go. I mean, it pretty clearly affected a couple of the drivers here tonight, as again that we lost both Jamison Huffman and Murphy Nichols on laps 1 and lap 2 respectively, and of course we lost Justin Huffman as well, who wasn't double dipping. I'm sure I would not want to be in the Huffman residence this evening. I'll tell you that. Hopefully Jamison's got a lock on the door where he keeps his sim rig. As we have our leader Tyler Campbell coming under braking now here at turn 1. with just about 7.5 minutes left to go in this 20-minute sprint race. And I think at this point, all Campbell has to do is put his head down, hit his marks, and we'll see if he comes up on some slower traffic. It looks like Antonio Guarda has gotten back underway, got that car repaired after his little run-in with a tire wall at the exit of turn 3, and he is running 11th now, down 9 positions from where he started. But if you take... Oh, go ahead, Avery, sorry.
Oh, yeah, I mean, he just... You know, that's what with these cars, Greg, and definitely this track, it's so easy to make a mistake. You know, that's what I feel bad for the guy, because running real strong with just that simple, slight, adjustment to the wheel, and I mean, you're the tire barrier.
Well, there you go. When you finish watching Apex Racing TVs and the Apex Racing TV channel, which, by the way, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe to Apex Racing TV's YouTube channel. Besides Ray Esports Racing, lots of other great series from around the world. Lots of different types of cars, and always some great battles, so definitely go and do that. But once you finish perusing what's on Apex Racing TV, you can always go check out my YouTube channel at Racer Greg. And as most folks a lot of folks have actually told me in the past, Avery, they use some of my videos as a good primer on what not to do at Summit Point, not because of the lines, but because I've got video of me going off and sending cars off at pretty much every single corner here. Now, granted, it took me 10 years to compile all those videos, but I've got them. And if you want to learn how to get it wrong, it turns 1, 3, 5, turn 8, where I actually planted a car on its nose and did a nose plant. And somehow got it back on its wheels instead of its roof. Or want to watch me going and flipping a car 3 times through turn 10, you can do it at the Racer Greg YouTube channel. Actually, if you just do a search for Greg Ginsburg, you can probably find me. Anyway, let's check back with the action. Here's we're following Stevie Ray right now, running 4th, just about 2.5 seconds back from John Vogel, currently sitting 3rd as we track our leader. Now, you'll also notice that Campbell has started to make his way through some slower traffic. If you take a look there, we've got the track map up in the upper right-hand corner, and pretty easy to pick out Mr. Campbell. He's that bright green number 1, and you'll see here as he's coming up on, I believe he's coming up on, both Andrew Wozencroft, who's just taken his car into the pits, and I believe Wayne Buttermore is actually, no, that is Antonio Guarda, who's next in line for Mr. Campbell.
Yeah, just, when you put on a clinic or, writing a book on how to drive this track, Tyler Campbell's the guy I'd like to be talking to. Get on his insight on how to be super fast here, because he's putting on a clinic half a second quicker than, I don't know, about 7/10, 8/10 math isn't my strong point, fastest lap of the session. But, yeah, man, he's quick.
Yeah, most importantly, he's really started to stretch things out. The last time we checked, the interval between Campbell and Burkhardt was about 8 seconds, and there you go. You can see the breakdown lap by lap by lap, and Burkhardt, who had been running very similar times to Campbell, has really started to fall off the pace the past 4 laps.
Yep, we got only 3 drivers out of the race with Guarda coming back on, but man, I'm so glad we got this series back on Apex Racing TV. I know it sounds weird. I'm not saying I like to hear my voice, Greg, but I've been watching some of our old broadcasts with this series, and I just got so excited when we found out we're doing them again. I like to hear your voice too. So.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so let's take a look here as we're following here. There's Morgan Burkhardt. He's coming up on the number 78 of John Casey to try and put him a lap down. Of course, he's already been put down a lap by our leader. Oh, and he goes to the inside, going through the chute there. It looks like Casey gave him a little bit of room at the apex, and Burkhardt makes it work and continues on his way. But he's going to also, again, lose a little bit more time to our leader here as he's about 12 seconds back. And now with just a little bit over 2 laps to go, our leader now just about to cross the start-finish line. And with what, about 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go, we should have 2 laps remaining. And there's Guarda looking to get back in that battle for the lead, only the fact that he's a lap down now from our leader, Tyler Campbell, after his earlier off. But he does get a pass made. Does get the pass made on, was that Buttermore that he got around? But I believe he's trying to unlap himself from Buttermore, as of course Guarda spent a couple of laps in the pits trying to get his number 43 machine repaired.
Yeah, he was in the pits for a little while. 2 minutes and 22 seconds was his total time in pit lane. So, you know, sometimes you gotta get that car in, get that quick repair like you have here. You may not get the finish, but you might as well just keep on digging. And he's doing a good job at just keeping on the track and doing well, even though he's in 11th. He's gonna be a lot of fun to watch the rest of the season, though, Greg.
No, definitely. As our leader now, Tyler Campbell, crosses the stripe to start what I believe will be the very last lap. And there you go. You've got the starter there waving the white flag. So Tyler Campbell now with just 8 turns remaining on this 2.1 mile, 10-turn Summit Point Raceway, Summit Point Motorsports Park main course. And let's sit right on top of his head as he makes his way down the chute. And he's got a lot of traffic coming up on him here. So let's see. Opening up that turn just a little bit, a little tap of the brakes and coming on through. And we'll see if he lets these guys take another lap. I think that would definitely be the gentlemanly thing to do. And he might be a little bit too far back anyhow to take a lap away from him here, but actually you can see now he's starting to let out of the throttle just a little bit. Comes onto the front straight, and let's see if he holds back and holds off a little bit. And no, looks like he's going to end end Graham Lofhead's day possibly there as he crosses the stripe, taking the win. Tyler Campbell, driver of the number 37 car. Morgan Burkhardt, if he doesn't lose the car first before he gets to start finish, he will finish in second. John Vogel in the number 1 machine. He'll take that car across the checkered flag to finish third. Stevie Ray finishes just off the podium in 4th. Charles Vaccaro, as we wait for him to come up the hill and over towards turn 10, should come home in 5th.
Keep in mind, Tyler Campbell ran the fastest lap of the session, Greg,
on
the last lap. Well, I mean, that's pushing the limits. I mean, that's always good to see. You know, if someone get a big lead like that, still trying to run as quick as they can. It's just, just getting a really good time, just about a second quicker than everybody else.
Yeah, and you'll notice that Campbell did check up at the end. And Lofhead now still on his final lap. Lofhead will end up coming home in 6th. But there you go. And I believe Lofhead now crosses the start-finish line. So, Graham Lofhead finishes in 6th. Buttermore will finish in 7th. John Casey 8th. Andrew Wozencroft 9th. And Joaquin Effinger rounds out the top 10. All right, so let's get things ready. We're going to bring in here in just a few moments a couple of our podium finishers. Hopefully we'll hey, look at that, Avery, for the second time tonight, you get to talk to Morgan Burkhardt.
Well, Morgan, you know, you got a third in the Spec Racer Ford race. You moved it up to 2nd place, man. What's it like going double duty from a completely different car to this Pro Mazda?
It's definitely a very difficult task, but you know, you do the preparation in advance. You practice with the surf and you practice with the Pro Mazda. It's just all about switching the mindset over from the surf, which is really a momentum car, and switching it over to the Pro Mazda, which is more. I mean, it's still momentum. Every car, in a way, is still momentum, but it's just switching over the mentality to a different car.
Yeah, because you don't want to go into turn 1 thinking it's a surf and you're in a Pro Mazda, vice versa. So, you did a really good job at taking home a second place finish. So next week we got another fun round with this Ray Esports series, and we're gonna be going to, let's see, Laguna Seca, MX5 and the Surf. A little bit closer gap than the Pro Maz and the Surf. Are you excited for Laguna Seca?
Oh yeah, I'm really excited for Laguna Seca. I love Laguna. It's one of my favorite tracks. I'm sure Jameson and Murphy will both love it as well. I know Jameson races there quite a lot.
Yeah, I was going to ask Morgan if you think tonight, and there we go, we're watching it on on the replay right now. If you've been elevated to the #1 driver in the All Sports Racing team since Jameson took his father out at turn 3 on lap 1.
Well, I mean, inside the team, I don't think there's really any #1 driver or anything like that. I think it's just all equal,
Yeah. Just a little joke. Anyway, all right. So there you go, Morgan Burkhardt. Congrats. 2 podium finishes tonight. He finishes 3rd in Spec Racer Ford, finishes 2nd in the Pro Formula Mazdas, and we will see him most likely twice next week when the Ray Esports Racing League heads to Laguna Seca for both the Mazda MX-5s and the Spec Racer Fords. Thanks so much, Morgan. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, let's see if we have. There he is. There is our winner, Tyler Campbell. Tyler, congratulations on your win this evening. Tyler, we got you there.
Looks like I can see y'all talking. I cannot hear a word you're saying. I apologize.
Well, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Man, Tyler put on a really good run there. We'll see if we can get it switched in just a little bit of time. But man, Greg, I tell you, Laguna Seca next week is going to be one of those tracks where you're just, you're really on edge because there's a lot of chances you can make a mistake, but it's such a fun, the corkscrew and all those turns. So I can't wait for next week.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be good, and hopefully we can get Tyler in here in a moment where he can hear us. Tyler, can you hear us now?
Oh well, I guess I'm just cursed, guys. I'm sorry. I can't hear anything. So y'all can hear me.
Yeah. Well, I was like, Dennis, maybe, I don't know if you could help us out here. If we could, maybe ask Tyler to tell us a little bit about his race. Well, then that's going to be a problem. Well, so again, Tyler, and I understand that you can't hear us here, but great run tonight. Pretty much from the green flag onto the checker, ran and did not give up the lead at any point tonight. Had a lot of action right behind him early on. Didn't let it phase him, and he comes home.
Yeah. If y'all can hear me, is
can you hear us
great
now?
race.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just driving out smooth. I might have spent too much time tuning the car, but hey, I'll take it when I can get it. I wasn't able to get the finishes I want last season, I guess. And so yeah, it felt good to come out, have a season of the car under me, and actually come out and perform. Hopefully, I'm not gonna be running the whole season, but hopefully we can get some more of the top front runner guys out here again. And really get some good front runner racing going on here. But yeah, no, it was great. Really enjoy running in this series.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Tyler. I know we're having a little trouble with you hearing us, but congratulations again on tonight's win. And hopefully, I know you just said you're not going to be running the whole season with us, but hopefully you'll be able to make a good run at it for the majority of the season here. Thanks so much, Tyler.
Yeah, what a good run for him, man. I'm excited to see the races. He's going to be back. Like you said, not running the whole season. He'll be back.
All right, and it sounds like looks like Avery might be breaking up just a little bit there. So sounds like it might be a great time for us to wrap things up here from at Summit Point Raceway, Summit Point Motorsports Park. Again, we are going to have 9 weeks of action here for the Ray Esports Racing League every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. As we've mentioned a couple of times, next week we're going to be heading to Laguna Seca for the Mazda MX-5s and the Spec Racer Fords, but we're going to be at some great iconic U.S. tracks like Virginia International Raceway, Mid-Ohio, Lime Rock, Watkins Glen, of course. We're going to be making a run to my backyard to Charlotte Motor Speedway, running the Roval in May. I can't wait for that. And of course, we're going to be having the runoffs, the championship of Season 2 at Road America in June. So definitely make sure you join us next week. Again, if you liked what you heard here, please go ahead and give us a like, go and put a couple comments in, and definitely subscribe to Apex Racing TV. Again, they've got a great schedule all week long, all across the world, all different types of racing. You won't get bored watching the content, even if you get bored with us. But definitely check them out at apexracingtv.com. For Avery McDonald, I'm Greg Ginsburg. We'll see you next week.